Hey, this is Passy from Passy's World of ICT, the guy with the white hat. And today we've got another Photoshop tutorial, and this one's on Photoshop layers. So we're going to learn all about layers today, and we're going to make this Olympics poster, billboard, postcard, whatever you like to call it right there. All right, so that's what we're making this lesson. We're going to get some separate images off Google Images. Then we're going to show you how you use layers to combine them together and finish up with a poster. Also in part 2 of the lesson, we'll learn how to just arrange some images horizontally in a banner and how to put some text over the top and resize it so it fits right across the top there and make it transparent so we can still see the pictures. And of course we're doing Tokyo to promote the Tokyo Olympics, which are on this year. So there's 2 parts to the lesson, to make some promotional materials for the Tokyo Olympic Games, and we're going to make the collage of images and learn all about layers. And in part 2, we're going to learn about formatting some text and put some transparent text over the top of a collage banner. So we're a bit of a slow talker, so remember, go to the video player bar down the right hand side where this tools cog is. Click on that and you can go to playback speed, and make sure the playback speed is like 1.5 or 1.75, and you'll find that the video flows a lot better. Now, this is a fairly short lesson, so you may not need to use an index timeline in detail, but in the video description there is an index timeline. So first we're going to go through the lesson step by step, and then we'll do a Photoshop live demonstration of it. Now, if you want to just get straight into the live demo, well, you could find that here in the timeline index. This is a different video, of course, here, and just find out the number for that one and then just click on it, and that will take you straight to that section so you can look at it. Or maybe you only want to do part 2 of the text and you can do that. So Tokyo Olympic collages, here are some which our students made. So we taught this lesson to them. All of our lessons are always trialed in the classroom before we release them. That's another good reason to be subscribing to Passy's World of ICT. So yeah, these are some ones they made, and they had some really great ideas on these, and I was really happy with what they did. This student here, she cut out the images, got them into circles, made transparent spots in the circles, was able to slot all the images in, which looked fantastic. This one here just went for a wide banner shot and added some extra images in. And then we've got this one, and we've got this one, a great selection of images. I notice when you do a collage or a poster that the ones on the outside need to be facing in so that everyone's kind of together as part of the action. And it's great how this swimmer is looking at the soccer player here. Don't have anyone looking away out of the collage, because that looks bad and takes the distraction away from the action. So we don't want distraction from the action. I really like this one that this guy did. He got the Japanese flag, and then he got the Tokyo Olympic banner symbol inside the Japanese flag. So that was really clever. And this guy here thought, well, really need to have a city in there because Tokyo is a big city. So he actually cut out all of the players and then got the transparent backgrounds, which is another lesson of ours, how to make transparent backgrounds, and then put this all together like this. And finally, the one which I thought was really fantastic was this one, where she took the high jumper and cut them out and had them jumping through the Olympic banner symbol for the Tokyo Games, and that came up really well and looks really great. So yeah, the students have such great ideas and things which I hadn't thought of, and that's why it's such a joy to be teaching this Photoshop course to them. This was when I taught a course when the Rio Olympics were on in 2016, and we had some students make some posters for that. And you can see these are the ones they did. So plenty of ideas here about the different things you can pull together just to make a poster and a promotion about the Olympics or about the city that they're in. See, this one was just all about Rio, the city, and with the Olympic symbol saying that Rio was hosting the Olympics in 2016. All right, so this is all sorts of things you can do and very creative. So making a postcard billboard, that's what we're going to do. We're going to make this particular one here with these images in it. And we can't give you the image because that'd be copyright infringement, but if you go to Google Images, you can easily just find images of Olympic athletes and then save them, okay? So here's where we save them all into our folder. We will give it this clear logo that we made by getting a logo and just making the background clear. We'll give you that in the downloads, and we'll give you the step-by-step PDF instructions. So check the downloads link in the video description for this lesson, but we can't give you these. But we'll just jump across to Google Images and show you how easy it is to get them, all right? Okay, so we've just done a Google query for female Olympic athletes, and we've got all these pictures here. And once you find a picture that you like, so this javelin one looks really good. So if we click on that, you can see the picture comes up here, okay? And then if you right click on that and say, open the image in a new tab, all right? So we just right click on it in Google, open the image in a new tab, then there should be a new tab up the top we can go to, and there's that image opened up, right? And then what you do is you start your snipping tool in Windows. So this guy with the scissors, the snipping tool, and how that works is you can go new on the snipping tool, and then your screen grays out, and then you push down your mouse with this plus sign and just get what you want to get. So we want to get this image here, and that looks good like that. And then you just go File, Save As. Okay, and see, we've got other ones here from another lesson, but let's get on to, where are we? We're on the Olympic layers lesson. So you can see they're ones we've saved, and we just need to give it a name, and then we can call it a PNG or a JPEG. So let's just quickly get this done. We'll just call this one Javelin. All right, JPEG, and just save that. And then you can use that in your project, all right? Then go and get some other images as well, all right? So that might be a good one there. If this is looking okay right here, you don't even have to open the image in a new tab. You could just go new and just cut this one out from here and then save it, because they don't have to be huge size, and then just go your File, Save As. So using the snipping tool. Now, as long as you're not distributing these images or trying to sell something you make for profit, I don't believe this is a copyright infringement, not in Australia anyway. If you're just using these for education purposes and getting the pictures off Google Images, and plenty of students do that for their projects, I don't think that's copyright. So I'm not a lawyer, but I don't think it is, all right? Okay, so that was how to get some images to practice on for this education-only lesson. You're not sending this out or posting it on Facebook to the world or anything like that. All right, modify, transform, flip horizontal. Now, remember how we said the images have to face inwards? If one of your images happens to be the wrong way round, as long as it's not writing across the player saying a country name or something, you can just flip it horizontally to make it face the right way. And how you do that is you open up your image in Photoshop. So the image we snipped, we just open up in Photoshop and we go Image, then Image Rotation, and flip Canvas Horizontal. And what will happen was this high jumper, we wanted to put them on the right side of the image and have them facing this way to look at the weightlifter, I think, in our one. So we just loaded this one up in Photoshop, did our image rotation, flip canvas horizontal, and then this is flipped around the other way, and we could use this other version. Just save this image as a JPEG from Photoshop and you're ready to go. All right, so let's get on with the lesson and show you how you do it. Then we'll do it live in Photoshop. So you start a new Photoshop document, a brand new document. There's nothing to open up from downloads or anything like that. So we're just going File, New, and when you do File and then New, File in the left-hand corner and New, you'll be presented with all these options. Now we want the one that's a 1920 by 1080. That's going to be a good full HD poster size. So 1920 and 1080 you want for width and height. We're just using RGB color mode, and use this drop-down list here, this drop-down arrow, and pick white. Make the background white, and then we just click on the Create button. And what will happen is Photoshop will make this white background for you. Then all those images we save, to bring them in, you just use File, Place, Embedded, which you have probably seen in one of our previous lessons to bring them in. So we've done File, Place, Embedded. There's our white background in Photoshop. We've just brought in this image of the runner. Now when it comes in, it's got adjustment sort of squares around the outside. You can just push down on one of them and drag it out or shrink it in to make it kind of the size that you want to have it. And then when it's done, press the Enter key. Now, if you needed to come back later on and slightly resize it again, all you have to do is go up the top of Photoshop and go edit on the menu, edit and free transform, okay, which will bring you back to these dots. You can click on the corner and resize it. So if you need to come back later, it's edit and free transform. All right, now, as each image comes in, as you've done file, place, embedded, all those different pictures we've brought in so far, they all go on a different layer. So we've got the swimmer picture was the latest one we brought in. The first one we brought in was that runner here. Okay, so they've all gone in a stack and they're all on different layers. And this is the concept of layers. Now, if you're not seeing these layers on the right-hand side, you need to go right up the top bar in Photoshop and go to the Window tab, click on Window tab, and make sure in all those things that come down in the list that you've got layers with a tick sign. So you need to click on it to make sure it's ticked, and then you should see it here down the bottom right-hand corner or in the right-hand column here of your screen. So if it's not there, you need to go to Window, Layers, tick on Layers, and then you'll be right. Now, layers are a stack of images. So the swimmer's on top and the gymnast is further down the stack. So if you grab the gymnast picture and move it over towards the swimmer, you should see it go behind the swimmer because it's lower down in the stack. Now, if we wanted the gymnast to be over the top of the swimmer, what you'd have to do is rearrange the layers. So what you do is you get your mouse and you push down and hold the mouse button down on gymnast, and then you can move it up the top and drop it in here at the top of the stack, which we've done here. Gymnast is now on top of the stack, swimmer is second, so the gymnast will go over the top of the swimmer. So that's what happens with all your different images when you go file, place, embedded. Photoshop makes a layer for each one, and a layer is a stack, and the ones that are at the top of your layers list, they're on top of the stack, and the ones that are at the bottom are on the bottom of the stack. All right, so we've got all of our images in, but something hasn't quite worked out. See this line? It'd be nice if this white line here went straight all the way down the middle, okay? Because these ones are kind of there, and then these look as though they're pushed over this way just because this line isn't here. So we need to trim a bit off the end of the weightlifter and move her back a bit to get this big solid line down the middle and make it all match up and look good. Our eyes like to see the same thing on each side of a line. So this comes from your DNA from when you're a baby. Your nose is kind of the center line of your face, and the first thing you when you're a baby, you look up and you want to see your mother's face or the parent's face, okay? So your eyes look for the center line and they look for the eyes on both sides of that. They like to see things identical, all right? That's just in your DNA. And if it's not identical each side of the center line, well, then things don't look good. All right, that's just a fundamental thing. So we need to crop off some empty space. Now, unfortunately, you can't crop it off while you've got everything in the collage. You can't just sort of right click on this one and go crop, unfortunately. What you'll have to do is you need to open up the original file. So here's our original picture of the weightlifter we got off Google Images, right? So we need to go File, Open, and just open up that JPEG on its own. You can leave your other project open. This will just open up in a new tab on Photoshop. Get on your crop tool, which is this tool, which we saw in our first lesson we did on Photoshop in the zoo animals. So you should have done that lesson and know your crop tool well. And this little marker here, you just push down on your mouse and hold your mouse button down and grab that, and you push it in a bit, and that's going to trim this down, okay? We need it to take about that much off it. So you just do that, push it in. Now it's pushed in, and you press the Enter key, or if you click up on your Move key on your tools here on the left-hand side, that'll do the same thing. But press the Enter key on your keyboard, and then that'll be resized. Now we need to go File, Save As, so we'll just go File, Save As, and save this as Weightlifter New, or Weightlifter number 2, or something like that, so you know what it is. And we've got to take the old weightlifter image out of our stack and put this new one in. So how we do that, before we can bring in the new cropped image, we need to take out the old one. Now here's the old one here. It's called, it was called Weight 2 originally. It's original version, right? So you need to go in the stack of layers where it is and click on it to make sure it's the highlighted one, the active one, all right? And how we delete it or take it out is that you just go down the very, very bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and there'll be a trash can symbol or a rubbish can or a rubbish tin. You just need to click on that trash can symbol once, and that will remove this. If you make a mistake and delete the wrong one or accidentally delete two, just remember holding down the CTRL key in the bottom left-hand corner of your keyboard and pressing the letter Z or the letter Z if you're American, Control and Z or Control and Z, hold down the CTRL key, then press Z, the Z, the Z key, and that'll take you steps backwards, all right? That's your undo key. So if you accidentally mess anything up, just use that. So we've deleted that old one out, and we can just use File Place Embedded to bring in the new one. Now, when we bring in the new resized one, notice we get this nice even white bar down the middle, and our poster looks so much better. All right, and that, I think, is our poster fully finished. All right, so image looks much better. And notice we've got now that everything matches up all right. Everyone's kind of looking in, and this is kind of cool because the weightlifter's looking this way and the high jumper's kind of looking up at the weightlifter. So everyone's kind of looking inwards. They're all together as a team, and that's the way it should be. If you had people looking out of the collage, that doesn't look good. And that's why we had to turn that high jump around the other way, because originally she was looking out here, and it's much better if she's looking at the weightlifter. It pulls it all together. So I'm really done. All we need to do is a slight crop of this image, because this white space here is a little bit wider than the white space we've got on the left here where the emblem is. So just get onto your crop tool and push that in, and that's going to crop all of the layers together, and then our picture will look better, and then we are finished. That's our final composite picture. So when you've made yours, make sure you save a PSD version. So if you do File Save As and save a Photoshop file version, then you'll have this one to come back to of all the layers if you wanted to change some of the pictures or change this around or do anything like that, or remake it into a banner one for the second part of the lesson, which we're going to do shortly. And then you can file save as a JPEG, a JPG file, and that one you can keep and you can show to your friends, all right? So that's what we do there. So that's part one finished. So if you want to take a break now, just take a break and then use the video timeline index to come back and have a look at this part two. So welcome back, part two, making transparent text. So we're going to rearrange our images to make a clipping mask. Now we're not going to do a clipping mask, that's actually the next lesson after this one. So I'll have to change that slide, but we're going to just have these letters over the top. We're not actually going to clip them out of a clipping mask, that's the next lesson. All right, rearrange images into a banner. So if we delete the high jump layer and move the weightlifter to the bottom layer behind everyone else, we can sort of arrange them horizontally like this, and then we can crop out that white space. The only problem is that the weightlifter is kind of here and doesn't quite stretch down far enough, but we've moved her in the layer stack so she's right behind everyone, and we can resize her and just make her fill up this gap. And then we've got a whole banner of images going across the page. We'll be able to put the Tokyo letters over the top of them. All right, so how we resize the weightlifter is make sure you clicked on the weightlifter, so this weight 3 one is showing. And then if you go edit and free transform here, free transform, edit free transform, that brings in your resizes. You can grab those and you can pull her out and stretch her and make her bigger. And you'll just be stretching out behind all of the images, all right? So that'll be all right. We just need to make her bigger so that the bottom fills up this little white space just in here. All right, so we've done all that. And then we can get on our crop tool again and just get rid of all that white space down the bottom so that we've got a single banner going across like here, and press enter, and then we've got our banner ready, and all we have to do is make the big Tokyo letters across the top of it. Now making the text, we need some very big writing. We used Franklin Gothic Heavy because that's big text that looks good. That was one we found that we liked. I think it's a standard font which everyone should have. Size 650 point. Now the thing is, depending on what size monitor your computer is, this can vary, all right? You may have to change the size to fit your banner. If you're using a big screen, it could be a different size, and some of these settings we're going to show you could be slightly different. But we started off with T for the text tool here, so it's underneath the lollipop dodge tool. So a fair way down there's a big capital letter T. You click on that, and with this drop down arrow here, pick Franklin Gothic Heavy. Okay, that's the one we need, and we'll just make it regular. In here, it doesn't, if you use a drop down arrow, it only goes to about 90 or 100 or something. So you'll manually have to click in that box and type 650 for the number of points. And then here we just click on this, and we're going to use a white text color to start off with, all right? So we do all that, and then we type in Tokyo, and the thing is that the text all stretches out and goes way beyond our banner. And what we need to do now is look at sort of pushing the text all together, which we can do with the window character settings. All right, so there's a character panel where we can make further adjustments. So we've got all our text typed in, and we've pressed enter, and then if you go window and tick character, all right, make sure you clicked on the Tokyo text layer here while you do this. If you're on one of the other layers and try this out, nothing will happen. So make sure you clicked on the Tokyo text and go window character. And what will happen is this box will pop up with the character settings. And we found for our size monitor on our laptop, if we changed how tall the letters were, which is this side arrow T1 to 110%, and if we made how far stretched out the letters are, use a minus value, which pulls the letters closer together, and we actually had to use minus 150, just type that in there. And for how far the letters stretch along, each individual letter, we just used 95% on that, and that made ours fit okay. But these settings might be slightly different depending on what size monitor your laptop is. Now, once you've done all those settings and you've got it all fitting, it's kind of hard to see here, but Tokyo is all fitting in our banner perfectly behind all of here. There is no OK button on this. You just click these double arrows at the top. That's kind of like your OK button to close that panel back down and get back to your work screen, all right? So that's how we do that. And then we've got all our letters finished, and all we have to do is make them slightly see-through because we can't see our basketball player behind the letter T there at all. And we can do that by staying on the Tokyo layer there and using this opacity, it's called Opacity, opacity. All right, so if you just get onto opacity and click that down arrow, it'll give you a slider, and we slid ours back to about 58% to get it see-through like that. All right, but again, you may have to use a slightly different value. And then we also decided, because it's female athletes, we decided we'd give it a bit of a pink color. So we did window character again and double-clicked on this color panel here, on window character, and then we were able to just pick a color. So we went up here first into the reddish pinks, and then we kind of went over here and picked this color, and then clicked OK, all right? And then we're able to make this pink writing. So you see, that's with white writing, that's with pink writing. You can make it any color you like and do whatever you like, and then you've got your banner finished with transparent letters. Okay, so here we are in Photoshop, and we'll do a quick live demo for you. So what you need to do is go up the left-hand corner here and go to File and New, and that starts a new project. And remember, we wanted a custom project. Now it's giving us recent here. I'm not sure why it's giving us that, but we just want to use a custom 1920 by 1080, this one here, and you can see we've got width is 1920, height's 1080, resolution 72, RGB color. Now it's got a black background. We actually want to use a white one, so we're using that drop down list and picking a white one. And then in this box for the new document, we just need to click on create, and that should start up our Photoshop with this new blank white document. Now, as we were telling you before, we just need to go File and Place Embedded, this one right here. All right, and then you can find the images we've saved. So we've got a whole bunch of images we've saved here, and we'll just get the runner image first and say place on this panel here, place. So this has been done in previous lessons. Now it puts it in, and it brings the runner in, and we may need to resize her. So we just go to this corner one and push down our mouse and drag that out a bit, and we'll make her sort of about this big or so and put her there. And then you can just press enter. Okay, and then we just go File, Place Embedded. Again, we find our next picture, which is the basketball player. We'll just grab that one and we'll put it in. All right, so we've got her in. Now we've just, we'll pause the video now and we'll get them all in, and then we'll come back. All right, so here we are, and we've got them all in and arranged, and we did a couple of things here on these two. All right, now if you look in the layers panel, you can see we've got all of these in different layers, and the Tokyo Clear logo is on the top layer, and if we grab that and move it, see how it goes over the other layers, and it also has a clear background. But let's just go Control and Z or Control and Z and put that back over there. And the swimmer, right, is going underneath the gymnast, because if you look at the layer stack, you've got the gymnast here and here's the swimmer, all right? So that's how the layers work. Now this high jumper here wasn't around the right direction previously. So all we had to do was we had to open her up, and let's see if we can find her here. And here she is this way, and see, she'd be facing out of the collage if we use that one, and it's not good if people looking away. We want her to look in and look at the weightlifter. So I'm just clicking tabs at the top of Photoshop here. So all you do is you just go Image, and then you go to Image Rotation, and like we said, Flip Canvas Horizontal. Then we got this version of her. You can file save as this one as ZZ High Jump 2 or High Jump 2 or something like that, and then we can bring it in, all right? And that's the one we actually then did File, Place, Embed and brought in here. Now this one we had to crop, because remember we showed you that originally this one was spilling over here and we didn't have this nice white solid line down the middle. So how we did that was we just opened up and find our weightlifter. This was weightlifter number 2 here, and what we did was we did the crop tool, this crop tool here. Now remember, it's best to have your tools doubled up, so there's a little arrow in the left-hand corner here. Just have them doubled up, we just find they're easy to find. And on the crop tool, and then you just push down your mouse on this indicator, and we brought it in kind of about that much to the end of that weight, and then pressed enter, all right? And then we had to bring that one in and use that one. And when you do that, yours might not be these images, you might have picked different ones, but you might find, yeah, you might have to crop a couple of them just so everything fits down here nicely. Now, this side here has less white space than this side here. So when we've got the whole thing finished like this, we just, Control and Z or Control Z, because something went wrong there. We can just drag that in and make that like so, all right? Okay, so let's look now at how we make the banner with the writing. So the Tokyo emblem here, we're just going to not have that one in our banner of people. So we're just deleting that one. We just press the delete key, or you could have used the trash can down the right-hand corner. And we'll have our basketball player over here. We'll have our runner over here. And what we need is someone in the middle, and that someone in the middle will be our weightlifter. All right, the high jumper, we're not going to have in the collage. Or maybe we could use the high jump. We have to pick one of these to use. Probably not the high jump because the legs would get cut off. This one will be good, but it doesn't quite fit. But we're going to place it there on top. The high jumper, we're going to go down the bottom here to the trash can in the right-hand corner and delete her. Delete the layer, yes. Now, another thing, when you delete a layer, it doesn't delete that picture. That picture is still in my Windows folder, and I can just go File, Place, Embedded, and bring it back in again. But it's just taken it out of this project, out of the layers. Now, we need to have the weightlifter behind everyone. So we're going onto her layer here at the top where it says weight. And if you hold down your mouse button, you can just drag that right down, and we're going to drag her right down here. So she's right at the bottom, just above the background layer. If you take her too far, it's not going to let us anyway, but if we move the background layer up, and that's not going to move because it's got a padlock on it, so let's leave the padlock on it. Now she's behind there. If we go, we are clicked on her layer, so if we go Edit and into Free Transform, then you can drag these sides here, and we'll just make her a good size so that she fits, and sort of get her maybe like that, sort of right across so we can see those dumbbells. All right, that looks good. And then you just press enter. All right, now she happens to be just a little bit too big. If we just use the arrow key and nudge her up a bit, she's still a fraction too big. All right, so I'll have to go back into Edit, free transform. And she just has to go back a tiny bit. Maybe if we pull her back like that and then bring her back down to right on there and press enter. Okay, look, we'll fiddle around and get that right, but let's look at the letters now. Okay, so go up to the top of your layers and click on the gymnast, and then we're getting on the letter T tool for text. And we want horizontal type tool, okay, the first one. And for our font here, we're going to pick, if we use this down arrow, Franklin Gothic, so we need to go alphabetically. They go alphabetically. We need Franklin Gothic Heavy, this nice thick one. All right, and the size we need, it only goes to 72, so we'll have to type in 650 here. But we're on a different size monitor than we made the other lesson on, so I'm not sure about 650. It might be too big. I'm just going to try 300 first, so I can always go and change it later. For the color here, we don't want black. We want to use a white color, so we get right in that corner on the color picker and pick white. And then if we click here, it's given us lorem ipsum, okay, which is some Adobe thing, but all we have to do is backspace, and then we can type T-O-K-Y-O. All right, so 300 is way too small. What we can do is we can just get our mouse and color all that in, and go back up here where we've got our 300 in the text size, and let's use 650 and see what happens. And then it goes nice and big. Now, to move it round, we have to just press enter, all right? And then, where has it gone, he says. Let's just Control Z back. Okay, I don't know what I managed to do there, but I lost all the writing. So let's start again. Let's get on the letter T. We've got our Franklin Gothic. Let's type in T-O-K-Y-O, and let's press enter. And then let's click on our move tool up the top left hand corner. Now the Tokyo is too long, so this is where you go window and you go into character. And what we're doing is we're setting this vertical one here to 110%, and see how that makes the letters a bit taller, and we can move them because we're on the move tool at the moment. And here we need to go -150 on the vertical alignment, the horizontal distance between letters. We're making them negative. Now that -150 on this monitor has brought them together too much. So this will vary depending on the size of your screen on your laptop, all right? -100 is a bit too much. We might have to go to -90. Now, are they fitting in? Maybe we can go -95 on that. And then for this one, the 100%, we can bring that back to 95%, and that'll bring our letters back even more. So we might have to go something different here. Maybe we need to go 110 on that. And then our letters are too wide, so let's go -110 on this as well. Okay, maybe we need to go a lot more, -140. So you can see here that we're doing a lot of fiddling around. Now we might even be able to take it back to -150. Okay, that's fitting pretty well. So use these double arrows here to close it up. And we've got our very big thick letters here saying Tokyo. And you can see they're blocking off our images. So what we do is we just get on our Tokyo layer here, go to opacity, and just slide the opacity back like this, and they go see-through, all right? And we need maybe sort of, so you can sort of know Tokyo's there, but you can see the Olympians. So sort of something in the 50s, all right, does that well. Now, if you want to change the color, you can go window up here, and you can go back to character, and you can click on this, and we could have them a blue color if we wanted, or a green color, or maybe a yellow color would be interesting, all right? So we could have them yellow, probably, let's just leave them a white color. That'll do for us. All right, and finally, we've got all this white space down the bottom, but that's easy. Just get on your crop tool and just crop that up. Hold on to that and move it, so it's like that. And then press enter, and there you are. There we've got our Tokyo banner. All right, so that's how you do everything in Photoshop. That was a live demo, and let's get back now and wrap the lesson up. Now, we're learning about layers and how to cut things out and place them, and how to do select and mask and feathering, which we've done in previous lessons. It can all come together and you can get paid for your work. So you can make posters. This is one I made for a band, and we actually shot this against a green screen at my house, and then I was able to cut this out and get all these different things to put in the background, stack them on layers. So the gold's right at the back of, no, this black kind of denim is right at the back of everything, and the gold's kind of on top, and then we've got a mirror ball. We've got them right on top of everything else, an open sign in between that we made transparent, a guitar that we added some glow around the outside of and made semi-transparent, and then using your lettering, all sorts of embossing and things, properties on the lettering, which we might do in a later lesson, how to make all these fancy letters, and getting some a downloaded font from DeFont for this as well. And yeah, you can make a band one of these. So like I do photography for a side hustle and do band photos, but if you can like do photos of the band playing at a gig and all the crowd there and everything looking really good, a really fun time. But then if you also have the skills to make promotional posters for them, then you're one up on all the other people that are just taking band photos. And so that's it for this lesson. So give this lesson a big thumbs up like, because this is the start of you learning layers, and you'll be able to make fantastic promotional posters for people, and they'll even pay you for those because they can then put them on social media and things like that. And subscribe to our channel. Subscribe. We're doing a whole Photoshop course at the moment, so we're not doing programming videos, sorry to the programmers. We're doing Photoshop, and there'll be more lessons to come. So subscribe to our channel and you'll know when they're coming, and we'll see you in the next lesson.